In this video, we are going to diagnose and fix this battery pack. I bought this for $30 and it wasn't working at all. Now it works fine and we added an XT60 connector. Join along to see how you can diagnose and fix your own battery packs.
So as you can see, once we press the button, it doesn't start. It just blinks red light. Even if I turn on the switch, it still blinks red. Here is positive and negative terminals. Let's use a multimeter, plug it in, and see how much it measures. It says 26 volts. Let's try plugging in the charger and see what does it do. The charger doesn't turn on. Even if I press the switch, it doesn't show anything. But if I press the button, it shows green, that is fully charged. Let's see how much it measures as voltage. Since it is plugged in directly, it will show you the full voltage. When I turn it on, see it shows 42 volts, but it was 26 volts once we remove the cable. So what's happening here is, so once we plug in the charger, the circuit is completed. That's why the lights bring green, even if the battery is not charging. The BMS is not letting to charge the battery. Why? There is a cutoff threshold for the BMS. So once you reach the threshold, then only you can charge. If you're under that threshold, whatever the number voltage is, it won't let you charge. So now we have to force charge the battery to override the BMS. So here we are using a female DC port connected with positive and negative leads, and I'm pushing the positive and negative wires to the direct output of the battery. Once the wires are in, let's plug in the charge. But you can see here, nothing happens. Even it blinks green, but the battery is not force charging, which means the BMS is still not letting us charge the battery pack. Which means now we have to open the battery pack and force charge it manually from there. There are three screws in the bottom, which are star screws, and let's just start removing them. So these are some very long screws which are grooved in to the metal casing. So take your time removing them. Don't be in a hurry. If you short circuit it, the battery will start burning. So be careful. Once the three screws are out, the case just opens. Slide down the battery pack slowly and disconnect the battery cable. Let's again measure the voltage just to confirm, and it still says 26 volts. Let's slice open the battery pack casing. The blue color which you see is a heat shrink. So let's just take a knife and carefully slide it. So I'm just cutting it from the bottom, removing it from the heat shrink. Be very careful when you do it. Safety is must. And slowly peel off the whole heat shrink. Remove the plastic sheet which is giving support and start peeling off the tape. Connected in 10S2P configuration, let's start measuring the each configuration voltage. So for the first tab, it doesn't read any voltage. It shows 0 volt. But for the second tab, it says 13 volts. For the third tab, it says 10 volts. So for the fourth tab, it is fluctuating and it is 0 again. Let's flip the battery pack and start measuring the voltage on the opposite side. So as you can see, the first one it reads 23 volts, second one is 17 volts, third one is 11 volts, fourth one is 9 volts, and fifth one is 4 volts. So it's going in an incremental order. Now let's start force charging the battery. Connect the female DC jack and the wires to the battery pack. Now I'm using an alligator clip, trying to connect the positive lead. I was not being careful and almost already caused a short. But luckily, the battery is good and the battery tab just broke, a small tab broke, but the connection is still there. Just be careful before you're doing this. This can happen with you. Two wires to the female DC jack. Let's solder those wires to the battery pack itself. Positive wire goes to red, negative wire goes to black, and check the voltage after you connect them. Check the polarities and make sure they are right. Plug in the DC port to the charger wire and turn on the charger. As you can see, once I turn on the charger, it starts blinking red, which means that it's charging the battery pack. And let's measure the live voltage across the battery pack. How much is it charging? So each section is charging individually and the voltage is just going up. So leaving it for 5 minutes, you can see the battery has charged 38 volts. close to 38 volts. Now, let's stop the charging and connect the battery back to the casing. And let's see if it will charge from there. And once we connect the battery pack, will it charge there? Let's find it out now. Once pressing the button on the battery pack, you can see it blinks two green lights, which means the battery is more than 50% charged. Now let's plug in the charger to the charging socket of the battery pack and turn on the charger. As you can see, it turns red, which means the battery is charging through the BMS now. The charger light turned green, which means the battery pack is completely charged. Let's use a multimeter to check the voltage, and it says 38 volts. The battery is fully charged. I disconnected the battery pack from the battery casing and clipped off the female DC wires. Using a glue gun, I secured the BMS and the positive and negative leads. Just applied gentle amount and pressed it firmly. Reverse packing the battery pack, we started putting the heat tape, which we removed in the beginning. Just applied the four tapings, used a heat resistance tape to apply it in the corners. With the help of a glue gun, applied the top and bottom base plates. Take a shrink wrap and cut it at the length of the battery pack. Just leave some excess so that it folds in the ends. Using a heat gun, apply the heat and it will start shrinking the shrink wrap. And apply the heat along the all four corners and press the battery pack on the base of the table so that it takes a flat shape. Slide the battery pack back in the battery casing and slowly screw in the screws evenly. Double checking the voltage, it says 38 volts. Our battery pack is completely ready and it works fine. Finish up the battery pack, I soldered an XT60 connector to the battery casing. So this battery pack had a external casing. So we can use this battery pack for our upcoming future projects. And we're going to make some amazing builds. So for more, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification on